Hey there, if you are watching this, you are probably an MSP business owner or maybe a salesperson for an IT company, and you are trying to find more information on how to implement effective marketing strategies. So go ahead and ring the bell if any of these sound similar. You have hired an SEO specialist and a social media marketer, and they are working their butts off for you, but you're not really sure what they're doing or why it's effective or where your money's going every month. Not surprising, and really common pain points we hear from MSPs all across the US. And so, what you're really trying to get to the heart of is, what does strategy look like? And what we see with not just MSPs, but pretty much any company that's trying to compete digitally, is that they're very familiar with the tactics that need to be applied. So they know that they need social media, they know that they need to work on their local SEO, that they need to update their website. They know all of that. But what they struggle to wrap their heads around is what strategy looks like for it. And depending on the channel that you're going after, strategy can look a lot different. Like a social media strategy versus a local SEO strategy are going to have different components, different measurements for success. And so ideally what you would have is a marketing director, either internally or outsourced, who can coordinate all of your resources to work together toward a common goal. If you know any marketing speak, you know that we have different measurements for success based on the buyer's journey. So you have top of the funnel stuff that's really just driving awareness of your brand, awareness of your services, just trying to get in front of eyes. You experience this with your salesperson when you send them to a networking event. They may not necessarily be driving home leads right then, but as we all know in the MSP world, the sales cycle is really long. So sometimes just getting in front of people's faces and getting your name out there is the first step to getting people in the funnel. And the different avenues that you can take strategically, digitally, also have that long sales cycle. So you want somebody that can help coordinate your SEO resource, your social media resource to fill the funnel. And then when you get people in the funnel, you can move them through the sales process, and that involves a lot of data tracking. And you really need a resource that can monitor, manage, and report on the successes of each of these individual campaigns. So it's not enough to have the person executing on the tactics if you cannot clearly replicate successes, track failures, and find ways to continue to improve. So your best bet as an MSP wanting to grow both your traditional marketing and your digital marketing is to have somebody dedicated to getting everyone on the same page, steering them in the right direction, and reporting on what is working and not working. This may not be a big surprise to some of you, and that may be why you're researching right now to try and execute on a good strategy.
The other thing that we want to emphasize when you are trying to implement marketing strategies for your MSP is understanding how you are dividing roles and responsibilities. There's a lot of aspects to an effective marketing department. And if you have one individual wearing too many of these hats or serving too many of these functions, what you wind up with is burnout or things slipping by and not getting accomplished, or not having a good cohesive strategy. Strategy and plot planning and reporting all take up a lot more time than you'd initially assume when you're doing your planning for campaigns. So these are some of the key functions of a marketing department. We have some that are more obvious, like branding and graphic design, web development, content creation, social media. All of these are very familiar when you think of marketing. And sometimes these can all be individual people serving this function. You can hire an SEO department, you can hire a social media specialist, you can hire a web developer. And the problem with having too many people working individually is that you, as the business owner, now have to corral all of them together, make sense of what they're doing, and try and get cohesive strategy around it. So if you are okay with being the head strategist, then this could be a good option for you. But what a lot of MSP business owners find is that they're not entirely sure what's being done or why when they've piecemeal hired each of these department heads. So on the right side of this graphic, we have a lot of the very familiar aspects of marketing. On the left side are some that are not as commonly referred to. So, sales enablement is supporting your sales team and biz dev efforts. So, a good marketing department will work hand in hand with your outbound team. Central services is hosting and domain and a lot of the technical stuff that occurs with your website. Help desk, there's going to be a lot of one off things that need to happen to support your team as you move along. Auditing and analysis helps with the strategic planning, and having consistent reporting to assess what's working and not working can be one of the most valuable things you can implement in your marketing strategy. So, when you're considering how to move forward, if you've already invested some money into all of these different departments, but you're not sure where to go next, it may be best to invest into strategy, either as a one off purchase from a strategist, hiring an internal marketing director, or working with an outsourced team that can help coordinate your vendors or even replace some of these vendors. In the earlier video, we mentioned some marketing jargon around the buyer's journey. In general, what you'll find is that the different campaigns that you're running are going to be categorized depending on how the buyer is interacting with your company or your brand. And marketers have a lot of different ways they like to define this, but we prefer to use this matrix here, which breaks apart the sales cycle into the marketing phase, the sales phase, and the service phase. And some of these are controlled by your marketing department, whether internal or outsourced. And all of these campaigns are related to how your marketing gets your customer to know you, like you, and trust you. Knowing your company can be through ad campaigns, social media, and outbound outreach. And that's just any instance of a potential customer interacting with your brand. From there, you want to make sure that they have a good experience and you're building the likability of your brand. This again can be related to the tone of voice and styling that you use on your social media platforms. It can be the visual aesthetics of your website. It can be the way that you present your services through your salespeople. The key element here to drive conversions and ensure that the sales happens is that your clients trust what you're saying and see visual confirmations that they can trust your brand. And a really good example of this is seeing positive reviews online for your company. If you can well establish know, like, trust during the marketing phase as people move through that journey, it makes the sales process a lot easier, and ideally, once they've moved through that process as well, they will be a more educated buyer. So you'll have a much easier time moving them through try, buy. And then as we get into service delivery, this is mostly controlled on your end, and this is for repeat and referrals. So we want to make sure that clients are happy with delivery and that they are capable of doing good referrals moving forward.